Joining us right now is former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, of course, a 2012 presidential candidate, and also author of Breakout, Pioneers of the Future, Prison Guards of the Past, in the epic battle that will decide America's fate. And there's so much going on right now in the news today, Newt Gingrich, that seems like will help decide America's fate. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, it's great to be with you, and it is an extraordinary time between all the coverage of the Malaysian airliner and the Crimea and the late Friday afternoon announcement about the Internet by the Commerce Department. There are a lot of different things going on simultaneously.
Yeah, I want your take on the Crimea region in just a moment, but I really do want to drill down on this Friday announcement that you made. Again, it's the ICANN, International Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. They're responsible for the basic architecture of the Internet and the naming, how computers translate those IP numbers and addresses to English language or words that we can understand. It's what makes the Internet work, and we built it, we paid for it, and now without any real rationale, we're just letting it go. What are the dangers here?
Well, look, I think, first of all, any time an administration has a late Friday afternoon announcement that's this important, you know something's wrong, because they don't want people to pay attention to it. This isn't just technical. The Internet was created by the United States, funded in the early days by the Department of Defense through a variety of grants, has become an extraordinary engine of both economic growth and of individual liberty. And all this has been done with the Department of Commerce directly engaged in a way that from the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, and they contracted it out to ICANN, which is the group that currently runs it, but they did so with a contract that meant the American people could take it back if ICANN did anything wrong. For us to announce on a Friday afternoon that we are now going to give this up without any negotiation, we have no idea what the successor agency is going to be. And I think it's being done in part out of fear that the UN will try to take it over, and that will be a total disaster. But remember, the United States believes in the rule of law. The United States believes in private property rights. The United States believes in individual freedom. None of those three are true in China. None of those three are true in India. I mean, in Russia. They are true in India, but not in Russia. None of them are true in Saudi Arabia, or Iran, or Cuba, or Venezuela. So you start getting out here without having thought it through pretty carefully, and you're going to end up with the Internet suddenly under the influence of people who do not share our values, who do not believe in personal liberty, and who do not believe in free enterprise.
Well, Mr. Speaker, thanks for joining us. There's been a backlash on this despite the Friday afternoon document dump. And given that the contract isn't up till 2015, is there any legislative recourse? I've seen a lot of Republicans up on the Hill really fired up about this.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think we should jump ahead to a solution until we have hearings. I'm writing a piece for CNN.com that calls for congressional hearings simply to lay out the benchmark, to say, there has to be a standard for what we would accept as a transfer point, and that this cannot be implemented unless that standard is met. If you could design a genuinely independent system that was defined by technologically advanced companies and that involved a commitment to the rule of law, that would be one thing. But that would certainly not include China, for example. I mean, the Chinese routinely violate all the principles of the Internet.
Yeah.
It certainly would include North Korea. I doubt if it would include Russia. And so, this is a very tricky business. And I think we Americans forget sometimes how truly unique our system is. Even the Europeans, with the bureaucracy of Brussels, have a lot more bureaucratic overhang, a lot more anti-free enterprise bias, and a lot greater willingness to impose elite values on everybody else.
Our guest is former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, Newt Gingrich there on Twitter. It's a very good follow. You won't be disappointed. Speaker Gingrich, if I could shift you over to the Crimean Peninsula for a moment while we have you here. I wonder, what is your take of yesterday's payoff? On Friday we had Secretary of State John Kerry say there's going to be Russia has got to pull back and shift gears here on their Ukrainian strategy, or else there will be major repercussions. And the repercussions from the president yesterday was economic sanctions against 7 individuals. Is that enough?
Well, first of all, it's just stupid. I mean,
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
that's an
you.
answer for you.
I mean, here you have Putin, who is clearly a semi-dictator, and Putin says to his 7 people, he calls them personally and says, "Hey guys, you've been singled out by Barack Obama, so I want you to know that we will triple whatever damages you're caused by the United States, and just let me know at the end of the year. I'll give it to you as a bonus check. Relax, don't worry about it. You're one of my guys. Who cares what they do in America?"
Right.
I mean, if the sanction for seizing part of a country is you can't go to Disney World.
That cuts deep. It really does.
Well, Lindsey Graham and I did a piece for CNN.com yesterday called "Screaming Loudly and Having No Stick." And we contrasted it to Theodore Roosevelt's injunction, "You should talk softly and carry a big stick."
Right.
And watching, I don't know if you saw Bob Schieffer's very funny commentary, where he said he had this dream in which Kerry is meeting with Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, and he's saying there are going to be serious consequences. And Lavrov says, "How's that foreign aid package for Ukraine coming?" And Kerry says, "Well, the Senate had to go home for vacation for a week, so they haven't quite passed it yet." And Lavrov said, according to Schieffer in his dream, Lavrov says, "Given how little Washington is getting done, what exactly were they vacationing from?"
Yeah, I don't think that was a dream, frankly. That could have been a transcript.
And you'll notice the government closed yesterday because of snow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the American ambassador trying to impress Putin with how tough we are? And he's staring at this report that 4 to 8 inches of snow,
Right,
which,
right.
which in Russia is called
Paralyzes.
I don't think the Duma is ever closed because of snow. But
well, they call 4 to 8 inches pre-breakfast.
But Newt Gingrich, I think there's an important question to be asked here that no one in the media is asking, and that is Hillary Clinton. She was the greatest Secretary of State in the history of the United States of America. She oversaw our policy toward Russia for the 4 years leading up to this.
We had fun in Crossfire, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We kept rerunning the moment where she has the big red reset button with the Russian minister, and then she kind of giggles and hugs him, and you think to yourself, I don't think the reset worked.
Yeah.
But Hillary Clinton currently is above any question. In fact, it's churlish. I can't believe you'd even ask this question. She is currently simply an icon, floating across the land, being available to save all of us in a way that will make us happy forever. And to reduce it to something like, what did she do as Secretary of State, is a sign that you have failed to understand the magic of the new Hillary campaign, which transcends, and this is Obamaism on steroid, it transcends mere questions of national survival and has to be a question of the joy of life that you will experience once she's in the White House.
You have clearly exposed my personal war on women that begins with Hillary Clinton. Newt Gingrich, it's always great to have you. Thank you for joining us, former Speaker Newt Gingrich, and of course, a co-host of CNN's Crossfire. And check out his book, Breakout, Pioneers of the Future, Prison Guards of the Past, and the Epic Battle That Will Decide America's Fate. It's a mouthful, but it's worth it. Get it on Amazon while you still can.